Hello and welcome to The Promised Land, a show about Manchester United and part of the 90 Min podcast network. I'm Scott Saunders, joined as ever by Rob Blanchette, talking to you just a few days out. Rob, we're flying to Vegas on Thursday.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. 10 and a half
Lots
hours
happening.
in the air.
Is it 10 and a half hours? Is it?
Yeah, I think it's 10 hours there due to the jet stream, and then it's 10 and a half hours back. But anyways, we'll have lots of time on the plane to plan the shows.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of the United obviously United are in the US currently, seeing a lot of faces I know out there. You know, the team are traveling. There's friendlies with Wrexham and Real Madrid to come over the next few days. The youth team to play Wrexham and the senior team to play Real Madrid with Jude Bellingham in tow. And in a new away kit, Rob. A new away kit. What do you think of it?
I like it. I like the first stills that I saw, but I think I said to you, it kind of reminds you of like some of the South American club kits that you get, kind of stripes and funky designs and a little bit different. But I think it works. I think it'll be quite a nice kit. And I think I saw you say on Twitter, a kind of instant retro classic. I get that. Kind of reminds me of the days back with the old green and gold kit from many, many, many years ago, which not many people remember now going back in time, I guess. But that kit obviously prevailed forever and ever for different reasons. But I can see this one being a good one, especially if Man United win some trophies in it.
Yes. I have this theory that there's been a lot of kits that United and other clubs have worn in the past that I've really liked that have been ruined by bad seasons. I actually think that is a thing.
Definitely. Like you know the Ronaldo kit from not so long ago.
Yeah.
The red kit with the kind of quite classical, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's last hurrah at United, that period of not great football and then some tears and all of that. It does matter. And then you kind of go, oh, I don't like that kit. But I used to be like that with the Nike kits. I didn't like the Nike kits at all. I was an Adidas man and still am an Adidas man. Now I look back and the gingham kit that I used to really dislike, now I just think of Robin van Persie. And I'm like, I quite like that kit. I'd probably wear that now, I think all these years later. Whereas at the time, there was a big debate about how vile and disgusting it was.
Let us know if you like the new away kit. It's a thumbs up from me. Obviously, the prices are, thumbs down.
Prices are mad.
But in terms
absolutely
of
absolutely mad.
Yeah, they're a bit mad, aren't they? New kits every year, 3 new kits every year, and you have to pay 120 quid for it's a lot. It is a lot. But yeah, so let us know in the comments on YouTube whether you do like the new kit or not. Will you be getting it? Will you be waiting for the Glazers to leave before you get a kit? Which has kind of been my stance for the last 10 years, 15 years or whatever. I can't remember the last time I bought a United kit. Anyway, subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts and watch us on YouTube. As I just mentioned, head over to the channel, like, subscribe, and leave a comment for us as well. And follow us on Twitter, or X, as it's now known, apparently. __ Scott Saunders, @_Rob_B, @PromiselandMU for the show. And Rob's got a new YouTube channel, which not a new YouTube channel, but a rebrand. You're doing an X. You're doing a Twitter/X rebrand on your own YouTube channel.
The United Masterclass is no more. As I said before, it was once upon a time the Football Masterclass when we just used to do tactical things all the time. But yes, it's now just the Rob Blanchette YouTube channel, which I was a bit kind of hesitant with, Scott, like kind of used to all our products having names, but then when you just put your name on it, but it is basically going to be me and other people. So yes, please follow that. Same here as my Twitter handle, or not Twitter, X handle. That's weird, isn't it already? X handle, _Rob_B. If you can find it on YouTube here, please subscribe, because that helps me grow the channel. And there's going to be loads of cool stuff on it this year. We're going to really use it, hopefully, every day. You'll get live content. You'll get me jibber-jabbering on about more Manchester United stuff, breaking news, but also going a little bit more in depth with player profiles and all the other stuff that you love from that original channel.
@_ Scott Saunders for me as well. Through the new season, I'll probably be posting more video, probably. Apologies in advance. But that is the thing that is on the internet nowadays, isn't it? And come and join us in Vegas. It's still not too late, but it is this week. We arrive July 28th for UnitedCon. Visit united-con.com. And I'm going to give a shout out here to, apologies if I've butchered your name and pronunciation of it, Anirudh, who has been messaging me on Twitter over the last few days and has just messaged me over I haven't replied to you yet, sorry mate, but you sent me some questions about how you actually get to this event, and you've sent me a message on Friday night, I believe it is now, saying I'm booked in. So yes, can we meet before the game, mate? Come and say hello, and anybody else who's coming along, feel free to come and say hello to us as well. We'll be at UnitedCon, so should be a good time. I'm seeing a lot of United fan events across the US at the moment. Tailgate party outside of the game against Arsenal, which we haven't talked about yet, Rob.
Oh, we should talk about that, shouldn't we?
Let's do it now. What do you think?
Well, it means we're obviously going to win the Premier League. So there you go. Interesting game of football, wasn't it? Because even look, these preseason games, you can throw them away. Stuff happens. Like, for instance, Louis van Gaal came to the football club. We won all of our preseason games. We won that ICC trophy, didn't we, against Liverpool in the final? And then Louis van Gaal found it very difficult to win a Premier League game, to start off with. It was a horrendous start to the season. But let's be aspirational. That was Arsenal's first team, almost, wasn't it? You know, new signings, same tactics, them taking the next step. They just beat the MLS All-Stars, didn't they? 5-0.
Yeah.
And all of that. I don't know if they won the skills challenge. Like, there's all those pictures of Kai Havertz missing the skills, which are going around the internet. But, Scott, I thought Manchester United, tactically and technically, took care of Arsenal pretty comfortably. And we beat them twice, because we beat them in the match, and then we beat them in the penalty shootout as well. So I'm sure if they'd won the penalty shootout, it'd have had Arsenal fans telling us that it was a draw on the day. Yeah. But, you know, that's 2-0 and 6 points rather than 3. And I just thought it was actually a really good game of football. I think United played well. And it's good to pitch yourself against one of your direct rivals, because, let's be honest, Arsenal had a fantastic season last year. And even though they've invested, it doesn't mean they're going to come first or second again. It really doesn't. In the same way, it doesn't mean...
Try saying that on social media, Rob.
Look, do you know, we should have Harry on with us, because he's an Arsenal fan. He's our producer here. And we should talk a little bit about this, like, openly with an Arsenal fan. Because Arsenal fans really do believe that the sun shines out of you-know-where at the moment with their club. And well done. They had a great season last year. It's very, very easy to buy new players and regress, because you've got to integrate. Declan Rice got cooked by Kobe Manu on the day, only for 45 minutes. Like, it's nothing. But it's promising to us, isn't it? That there we go. We got a young kid, and we should talk a little bit more about Kobe. But it was a good performance. 45 minutes. Jadon Sancho did well, is doing well. And another box tick, Scott. And a good game. Good for Man United Reds out there in the States who went to that game to see their team defeat the all-conquering, amazing, best team in North London.
Wow. Fair enough. Fair play. What else? I was just going to mention something else, but today while I try and remember what I was going to say, we'll talk Sofyan Amrabat potentially coming in to Man United, and Rasmus Hojlund's latest. We'll also talk Kylian Mbappé as well, because he's in the news. And do United have a chance of signing Kylian Mbappé? Rob is making an indication that there's a small chance. I say chance. There is a 0 chance. But
I think there's a tiny chance, not zero chance.
No chance. Absolutely no chance. What I was going to say was, you mentioned Jadon Sancho there. Erik ten Hag did a press conference overnight in the UK and was asked about Jadon Sancho, and essentially said that what he expects of his wide forwards is to run in behind. And he said I think this might have been a bit of a slip of the tongue, but I think he said better in the middle. Jadon Sancho is better in the middle. So interesting. Obviously, there's no real place in the team first 11 at the moment for Jadon Sancho. So he's having to deal with this false nine role, which he's doing quite well. But obviously, if United sign Rasmus Højlund, is there a place in the team for him? He'll have to make do with somewhere else by the looks of it. But yes, we'll talk Amrabat, Højlund, and Mbappe today. and leave a comment for us on Twitter or the X or in our YouTube comments
or whatever
as well.
these things are
YouTube isn't
called.
rebranding. It's not rebranding yet. But anyway, let's get started. What's the latest on Sofyan Amrabat, Rob?
What's the latest? So we said last week that this deal could escalate quite quickly. We also said that about Højlund, didn't we, a week or two ago? And it has escalated pretty quickly. So where do we stand with Amrabat? So we've talked about this off camera before and kind of through the week. The main competitor for Amrabat, as far as the Premier League goes, what we've said about Amrabat's desire to play for Barcelona one day, was Liverpool. Liverpool have put all their eggs now in the Romeo Lavia basket. They want Lavia for around £50 million mark. They're negotiating that. They see him as the answer to their problems in midfield. They're not going to try and add an extra one at the moment with as it stands with Amrabat. And what we're kind of learning from the Moroccan side of it is, and also directly now from the Fiorentina side, is that the player is very keen to go to Manchester United. That a deal is pretty much done between the three parties. Again, like Højlund, if all parties are in agreement that the transfer should happen, then they can work together to do that. Same as we saw with Onana. Might take a week or two, but that's where you are. And I think with Amrabat, and I think with what United are trying to do, there's no doubt that this is, I think, the end, the death bell, you could say, for McFred. This is the end of these two players' time at Manchester United. United are shopping them consistently, trying to find the right price for them. And that's really all it comes down to. It's kind of, I think, Ten Hag's 2-for-1 solution. 2 wages off the book, but bringing in one player that can kind of do both those roles and more and better and gives you Casemiro coverage and gives you that kind of smartness that Amrabat brings. And I think, again, Scott, this is it. I think this one gets done. We seem to be at that point already. It's escalating quickly. And it's just a case now Man United need to, cross the T's, dot the I's, get the contract sorted. Player seems very, very, very keen to come to Manchester. And it looks like it's a goer.
I'd hesitate a little bit to say it's that far advanced. But, I mean, I think this deal will happen at some point. I don't know how quickly it will. I mean, we're looking at how far away are we from the first game of the season? Like 3 weeks, I want to say, something like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, United can get this done.
But 3 weeks not long, is it? Like there's that. I think that's the thing. Like people think this window lasts forever. United are actively pushing those things. They're trying to get them done. So I think we always criticise them, don't we, for leaving it way too late. I don't think Amrabat or Højlund will be deadline signings, even though that's what it felt like a few weeks ago. It felt like United were behind the curve a little bit. So I think the whole side of it is the Moroccan side of it and the Fiorentina side have kind of come together. They're the ones that are kind of pushing that now and saying, player's off, player wants to leave, player is done. Yeah, we don't know more than that. A lot of that is kind of conjecture. But I think, Scott, it might be quite quick.
We'll see. What is the definition of quite quick? But as
3
long as
weeks.
three.
That's pretty quick, isn't it?
When we say quite quick, I kind of thought you were thinking 48 hours to 72 hours or something like that.
No, look, 48 hours was Simon Mbappe, but like these other the football deals take ages to construct. I know fans think because they hear it on Sky Sports News like that, or they hear a "Here we go" that's all just done like that in a tweet. It takes ages to do this legal stuff. It really does. And even the clubs that do it quicker than Man United, you've still got due diligence to do. So I think before the first game of the season, United are looking to have all their business generally done. And they're players that they can achievably do it with, Scott. They're not it's not Harry Kane, is it?
Yeah, I mean, my concern about Amrabat was that potentially Liverpool were going to move in for him. Obviously, I think if you were to... I think this is pretty much generally accepted. He would like to go to Spain, and that would be his first choice. But obviously, we know Barcelona are just in utter financial ruin or chaos at the moment. Atletico Madrid, viable alternative, could offer him a starting place more regularly probably than United could because they've got Casemiro. And then Liverpool are in the mix as well, or have been. It seems like Liverpool might have pivoted a little bit to another of their targets. So, I think Amrabat makes a hell of a lot of sense. If you can have somebody that is reliable as that, who's been to a World Cup with Morocco, making them or sending them through to the semi-finals as part of a well-oiled, well-disciplined machine, You know, I think if you can bring that into your squad and use as a rotation option for Casemiro, that's a hell of an option.
And it's always about all your pieces together, isn't it? And like you know, just talking about what United have got, obviously Onana and Mount, and then I think we can add Højlund to that in the not so distant future. 3 players, Scott, that really want to play for you. And this is what we're hearing about Amrabat, is that Amrabat's choice in terms of the Premier League, especially with what's on the table, is Manchester United. It's not Liverpool. So I think when you've got players in agreement that your project is going a certain way and they like the manager and they like the style, someone like Amrabat coming in for McFred is kind of perfect business because he'll actually be cheaper than those 2 players' outgoings combined. And his wages of around £4 million a year are just, it fits the wage structure. It's not a problem, really. So you sell Scotty for an elevated price. You get rid of Fred because I think the manager's cooked with him, doesn't really see a use for him anymore. And someone like Amrabat is not just a person that will play instead of Casemiro, but I think there'll be loads of games where he plays with Casemiro. And if you do the 4-2-3-1 that United like and have been doing in pre-season, it then means Mason Mount can go up the field and play higher up where he played for Chelsea at times. So I think there's a good balancing signing if you get hold of him. And it all makes more sense, doesn't it? It's not one of those signings that maybe Ole used to do or Jose, and you'd go, okay, you bought a player, but why? Like I can remember when Van Gaal did that and he bought like 8-9 players and you were like, but where do they fit into what you're doing? And half the time, they didn't fit. So I think that Ten Hag's really keen on that. And once again, we said it last week, a player that he knows really well, a former player of his.
Yeah, I think this is... I tweeted this last night, something along these lines of if United can get Amrabat and Højlund in at any point in the summer, really, ideally before, at least a week before the first game of the season, then that's a really, really solid window. I mean, and just going off what you said there, Rob, United have for years signed big name commercial players who are good players, but not necessarily the right fit for the team. I think with every signing, I'd include Højlund and Amrabat in this. If you take the 4 as a unit, each of them make a hell of a lot of sense for what Erik ten Hag is trying to do. And that's such a departure. Maybe not from last season, but it's such a departure from all of the years previous to that, even going back to when, you know, Moyes took over from Ferguson. Like, that is a completely different outset, a different mindset in the window. And I think quietly effective, at least you hope.
Completely. Look, I can remember you just said David Moyes, and there was something ringing in my head when you were comparing like the regimes. And I can remember the tour, David Moyes' first tour, first being in charge of Manchester United, and Ed Woodward made a big show of flying away from the tour because he was going to go and sign Cesc Fabregas. That was done deal. Everyone in Spain was saying it's done, and the player wants to go, and the club are willing to sell, and all this. And he flew all the way back and didn't sign him because he haggled over some silly stuff. So you didn't get the player. I think United have just setting the stall out a little bit more conclusively now, Scott. Right? When they're actually looking at players, they're saying, well, this is what you learn. Are you all right with that? Yes. Right. Club, are you willing to sell? If they say no, then we go away. If you say yes, we'll chat. We'll find a price. And they're doing it in a kind of more logical business sense that you're getting players and you're not wasting your time just chasing the golden ticket. So like Harry Kane, I just mentioned him there. We've talked about Harry Kane so many times. Harry Kane looks like he probably will leave Spurs. Spurs have sanctioned that transfer, and it looks like it might be Bayern Munich as it stands. But should Man United waste their time trying to get in the middle of all of that? Well, yes, if you think Harry Kane would like to come to you, but if you're not sure about that, and that's something that's not really on the table today as it stands, then don't bother. You know, like if it's on the table, then yeah, go do it. But, you know, you still need a striker. You still actually need a midfielder. You bought Mason Mount, but you still do need a midfielder. What I like, Scott, is that also with Ten Hag, is that he's looking at developing the pieces that haven't worked in the squad. So Wan-Bissaka, he's looked at Wan-Bissaka and people have gone, well, that was a dead duck. Get rid of him, 50 million quid, sell him to Palace for 20 million. He's gone, no, I'll develop him. I'll spend some time with the guy and teach him what to do. That's kind of what you need. But then you look at a McFred and you probably go, can't teach these things to him. So thanks for your service and pat on the back. David, great goalkeeper, big hugs. You can't play out from the back. Off you go. Oh, look, and here's Andre Onana. So I think that's the right way of doing football business. It's not personal. It's just about being in control of the game and having players that do things for you.
I was so glad to hear Erik ten Hag say the other day, he was asked about why United parted with David De Gea. He said something along the lines of, it was the right time to do it. And I was like, yes, you said it. I've been saying it for months, and I'm not the only one to have been saying it for months. But when you're out of contract on 375 a week and you don't fit the style, it's a natural endpoint for David De Gea at United, and it's nothing, like you say, nothing personal, just business.
It's a natural endpoint, and I think you have to apply that science to literally the whole squad. Like when we did our show a few weeks ago about outgoings. And it was like, Alex Telles, no thanks, just go. Just get him out the door. You know, Eric Bailly, no, off. You know, you just play as these names that don't help you. And eventually that could well be Donny van der Beek. So, like, there are plenty of players that I think fit in that ilk, which might be decent players at other football clubs and might do well. What did we see yesterday? Young lad Elanga there, he's going to Nottingham Forest. He's going to do well at Forest. He will. He's quick. He plays off the cuff with them. He'll come from wider areas. I think he'll score goals at Forest. I really do. And then we'll all be going, he's probably a £15 million player. But at Man United, he's nothing. So, like, you have to move the nothing players on. Scott, we should chat a little bit about Jadon, actually, because I think it's really interesting what you said earlier on and the comment of it. And I see that. I think from wider areas, Jadon doesn't do the kind of digestive work rate that you need from someone that curves in from that side. He wants to stay wide and dribble and attack that way. He's not Marcus, is he? He's not Anthony. But I think through the middle, he might be able to do that, where he picks the pocket as a false nine. And it just depends whether this manager wants to stick with false nine. And let's say Højlund and Sancho as your rotation. Not mentioning Martial, you see there.
He's back in training, Rob.
He's back in training. Fixed. Look, his hamstring could go literally while I'm talking. Like, it could be popping now as we're speaking. And I think that Man United would like to move away from Martial. It's just obviously there's not a lot happening as it stands. Then again, maybe the Saudi door will open up for him and he might be able to leave the football club. But then if you're going with like a Højlund and Sancho through the middle, I think you need a role for Sancho. And if Sancho's going to be third choice on the left or the right, and that's not really a role, is it? That's just like, that's what you would expect from an Elanga. So this might be a way to get Jadon Sancho fit, firing, playing more games and being more productive. He's got the qualities of a false nine. You saw the goal he scored against Arsenal. It was nice, wasn't it? Ran off the player, took 2 really good touches, finished it beautifully. He's got a finish in him, Scott, which means that playing through the centre is not, a complete no-no.
So, Rob, latest on Rasmus Højlund. Manchester United still in pursuit of him. But as we mentioned, we think this one might get done pretty soon. Erik ten Hag has actually spoken in his press conference that we just mentioned and confirmed that we're progressing in talks to sign a striker, which is some good news. But as you'd expect, he said, once we have some news, we will let you know, which is his default line, saying this deal isn't done yet, but you know that we're working on it. He also said the other day, our targets. So I think Rasmus Højlund is a United target. Good news as well, Atalanta are closing in on a replacement for this player, El Bilal Touré from Almeria, I believe. And that is them putting the money that they're going to receive for Rasmus Højlund back down to secure his replacement. He's a good player linked with Everton as well. But Rasmus Højlund, Rob, I thought the United needed 2 strikers, and obviously I still would take Harry Kane, no doubt about it. But whether United can do that this year, not probable from what the club is saying. But just looking at the 4 isolated players with Højlund at the top, and if you can rotate him with somebody like Jadon Sancho, with Anthony Martial, with Marcus Rashford through the middle, it's a good option. So are you excited about this one happening?
Oh, am I excited? Am I going to sound really dull? No, kind of. I'm excited in the sense that it will be good to have a different kind of option up top that maybe is fit every week. That would be exciting, wouldn't it? Because I do think that Manchester United, everything they achieved last year, winning a trophy, doing well in the Premier League and becoming a Champions League club once again, was achieved pretty much primarily, Scott, without a number 9 all season long, and you somehow still did it. So I think someone like Højlund definitely adds to your stock, a good young player, not the finished article, etc., etc., etc. But I think he will give you really good minutes in different systems. So United leaning still towards a kind of 4-2-3-1. I said last week as well, Scott, United like obviously the 4-1-5 and they played that most of last year. Haven't actually seen that in pre-season yet. That's quite interesting to me. He's gone more 4-3-3, more conventional, and playing a false 9. And you know what? Højlund can do all those things. So I think Jadon being with Rasmus, that could be our two forward line there, our 2 strikers. And as you said there, a little bit of auxiliary work there from Marcus Rashford coming inside. And maybe when Anthony Martial is available, if he's still at the football club, you've then got options through the middle as number 9s.
Some tentative links with Anthony Martial and Saudi Arabia over the last few days. Eric Bailly's been linked with a move there. Alex Telles has already gone there. We'll see. But I don't see... United are already pretty short on strikers as it is. So I think letting Anthony Martial go would mean they probably need another one. So I'd be surprised at the moment. But maybe, Rob, maybe they could sign Kylian Mbappe instead. What do you think? Maybe they can. Can they match the £259 million / 300 million euro bid from Al Hilal to take him from PSG? We have, sorry guys, like there's been suggestions that United are interested in him. Of course they're interested in him. Who wouldn't be interested in him? Doesn't mean a deal's going to happen. Or does it, Rob?
No, of course it doesn't. But Man United have inquired. So Man United have knocked on Kylian Mbappe's door and said, this all looks like a bit of a mess in Paris, doesn't it? Want to have a chat? Would you fancy playing in the Premier League? Do you know what, Scott? This all hinges on things that, again, are up in the air. If Manchester United tomorrow or very soon had a Qatari owner, I would not be surprised to see Kylian Mbappé suddenly pop up at our football club. I just would not. It would be a superstar signing. And then the fee doesn't really matter. Like FFP does not really matter with these things. People go, oh, you can't spend this extra 10 quid here or that 20 quid there because of financial fair play that doesn't really ever exist. I think Man United had owners and changed that tomorrow, then that would be a goer straight away. But of course, today it's not a goer. And really the only club putting up any kind of significant money, of course, is a Saudi club. One thing I will say is this. Do the Qataris want to sell to Saudi their biggest...
They accepted the bid.
Football asset? Well, they accepted it because their nose is out of joint when it comes to the player and Real Madrid. So they feel the player has already promised themselves to Real Madrid that he wants to go there. And we all know that. That's not new news, is it? So now they're like, right, washing our hands of the player. And, 250 plus million's pretty nice. We'll take that because that's a lot of money. And that's an inflated bid for the player. But then again, if they got Mbappe for any amount of time, he would be now the figurehead of that league. Can you imagine? Mbappe, Ronaldo and Messi. And it changes the game for the Saudi league, like in terms of taking a player in his prime to their league. So that's more likely. I think when it comes to Manchester United, if he did want to stay in European football, yeah, I think United are in the mix. I really do. I think United would love a player like Mbappe, again, a superstar kind of player. But do they really have the finances as it stands today for that kind of signing? The answer is probably no. That's also why they kind of would move on from Harry Kane for the same kind of reasons, that you have to pay that extra bit more top dollar, or do you take someone that you develop?
I don't have a hat near me, but I would eat my hat if Man United signed Kylian Mbappe this summer.
Don't eat my hat.
Rob's wearing a hat. What hat are you wearing today? How many hats do you have, Rob?
About 150 hats.
Wow, really?
I have a lot of hats, but I'm a hat person, so what can I do?
How many hats do you wear or do you own if you're listening at home or wherever you are? Let us know in the YouTube comments or on Twitter or X, as it's called, _Scott Saunders @_Rob_B and @PromiseLandMU for the show as well. We've done the Mbappe thing. Just a note on that. He's going to join Real Madrid. For me, he wants to join Real Madrid. Real Madrid want him. They are concocting some kind of master plan to get Kylian Mbappe to Madrid for the lowest cost possible. I think He's out of contract in a year. I see some potential in the Saudi offer. If it's a year, it would be ridiculous for football, but
it would be ridiculous for football. But I think the only way that happens and might happen is if there is a break clause in the contract. So if he signs, say, a 4-year deal to go to Saudi, but there is a break clause after 1 year, which can happen. That happens in the NBA quite a lot. In other
it's been suggested from some players that this is a 1-year deal for 700 million euros.
And like I said, when we talked about sports washing quite a lot and all this stuff, haven't we? Like we've done a lot of content on it. If you're going to bring Mbappe there for a year, then you'll pay the money for that because you're looking for the pizzang, aren't you? Like the big transfer. That's all you're doing it for. It doesn't mean that Mbappe is going to stay there forever. And if he goes to Real Madrid in a year, guess what? Everyone is happy, aren't they? So I think that's more likely what will happen. I will not be surprised if he ends up in Saudi Arabia. But I think the political side of it is where maybe some of those things in the Gulf and that area and United Arab Emirates and around that region, they don't like doing business with each other for this kind of reason. Like they don't want one nation to have a one up on the other. And I think in this situation, PSG are just in a bad spot. They just realize that they need to get.
They have no power.
No, they feel like that the player has done the dirty on them. They really thought that he would trigger extensions and would stay at the club, and he hasn't. And I don't know why they would think that. Everyone knows he wants to go to Real Madrid, and he's talked about that in the past.
I tweeted tongue in cheek yesterday. I propose a swap deal, straight swap Martial for Mbappe. Maybe that'd do it
with McFred.
Yeah, whatever. We'll see. Never going to happen, is it? But apologies, guys, for today's show. We are a little bit short. We're a little bit short today. Usually 40, 45 minutes, sometimes longer. Not quite that length today. I've had some connection issues, which hopefully we've managed to bury and you haven't noticed. And now I'm just telling you about it, making it known that I have connection issues. Apologies about that. But yes, we'll be back. I can't say we'll be back on Friday because I don't know exactly what we will be doing currently. We could send you 4 episodes. We could send you one usual. We could send you little 10-minute snippets. I'm not sure yet.
Tell us in the comments what you want from us in Las Vegas. Tell us and we will film it for you and make it for you. So obviously, like we now know, we are at the Dortmund game for sure. Our accreditation has been approved and we'll be at that match. So we'll be doing stuff in and around the match, I think I would say. But like you're saying there, Scott, it won't be our normal show on Friday now. It'll be some kind of hybrid version, obviously on the Manchester United tour.
I think, just saying that, I might have touchline access for the duration of the game. Follow me on Instagram for video.
Do a TikTok.
_ Scott Saunders. TikTok, maybe.
Scott Saunders.
Maybe
TikTok.
This is why you need to get off Twitter and look at these video first platforms. But we will video and image first platforms. But hopefully, I think that game is on Sunday night. I want to say, is it? I can't remember.
UK.
Anyway, I think it's like 2 a.m. in the UK on Sunday night, Monday morning. But anyway, yeah, we'll be there. Plenty of content coming your way from Las Vegas for United Con from July 28th. Visit united-con.com to book your place now. Late on, we'll be there. We'll see plenty of you. If you are there and you do see us, feel free to come and say hello. And we'll wrap it there. Subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts and watch us on YouTube as well, as we've mentioned already. The Promised Land of Manchester United podcast. Head over to the channel, subscribe, leave a comment for us, etc., and follow us on those social platforms. _ Scott Saunders at _ Rob _ B and at Promised Land MU for the show on Twitter /X or whatever it is. And Rob's holding up an X sign. Just one final word. Did you see Julia Roberts and the giant Omos and MVP meet? Did you see Omos meet Marcus Rashford and absolutely dwarf him?
I saw Omos shake Eric Ten Hag's hand, and as he shook his hand, his hand went up his forearm like that because it's so big. And Eric Ten Hag was like, "Oh, well, yeah, great. This
I don't
is
want
good,
to fight."
But I was interested to see MVP is a well-known Manchester United fan, has worn United shirts when he was a active wrestler.
We are talking about WWE if
we
you're
are
not aware.
Cross promotion here, X. We're covering all bases, and I've seen him wrestle before and come out in a Manchester United shirt. So he was wearing a 1985 FA Cup final shirt, and I thought that's a fan knowledge. He knows what he's talking about. But yeah, Julie Roberts, big Manchester United fan, always ends up on the tour. If we play in America, Julie Roberts is there. She loves Man United, and you saw her with a big cuddle there with Marcus and getting a shirt, I think, from Eric Ten Hag saying Julia on the back. Yeah, of course, when you're in America, we're not quite in Hollywood, but Las Vegas itself is quite spangly, isn't it? I think we'll see some stars there as well.
Yes, indeed. That is it for us today from the Promised Land podcast. We'll see you soon. Next time you do see us, we'll be from Vegas. But like I say, we can't promise exactly what we're going to deliver, but we will deliver some stuff for you from Vegas. And keep an eye out for that on our social channels, on Promised Land, YouTube, etc., etc. And we'll see you soon, everyone. If you are coming to Vegas, see you soon. It'll be a pleasure from us to meet you. And right, that's it. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, listener. See you soon.